I find curiosity fuels me. I'm always craving to try new things, and I've learnt to not be afraid of that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mastrius for Sneak a Peek with artist and mentor Annette Raff. We'll be talking about the artist sphere and conquering creative hurdles. At Mastrius, you get professional feedback, teaching advice, support from master artists of your choice, so you can reach your goals in your style, in your pace. I'm your host, Anna Zanella. And today I'm thrilled to introduce you to Annette Raff. We'll be discussing Annette's artistic background, mentoring methods, and her teaching philosophy. We'll also have a short video demo with some images to share. Just let me introduce her in a couple of paragraphs here about Annette. Annette is an acclaimed Australian artist with a career spanning 26 years. She holds a Bachelor of Fine Arts and advanced certificate in art and design. Annette's significant contribution to the arts have earned her the title of Fellow with the Royal Queensland Art Society. Her mentorship groups foster a creative environment where participants are encouraged to experiment and explore, rather than focus on the finished outcomes too early. She holds that remarkable artistic effects come from trying new things without fearing failure. We are very proud to have Annette here at Mastrius, and she has two new mentorship groups that are launching soon. One is for aspiring artists, and that one is focusing on exploring watercolor techniques and beyond. And we have a second group for emerging artists, and that group will focus on discovering and developing your own artistic styles in all mediums, not just watercolors. You can check out Annette's group at mastrius.com for the dates and times for the groups.
Enjoying the video? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when new Mastrius videos are added.
Hello, Annette, and welcome.
Hello, Anna. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, thank you. It's exciting to have you here. So I wanted to talk, because you have two different kinds of groups, to talk a little bit about the focuses on the two groups. So can you tell us a little bit about your aspiring group first and then your emerging?
Yes, the aspiring group, Anna, is for early stage watercolor artists who are facing challenges with the medium. They may never have exhibited before or sold their work, but they may be wishing to do so, but want to improve their skills and gain a little bit of confidence before they do so. Whereas my emerging group are usually experienced artists who may be working in any medium or style. These artists have already developed their proficiency in technique, but now wish to take their art to that next step, refine their style or direction. They're usually aiming at entering exhibitions or marketing their art, or may have already be doing so, but just need that encouragement and direction. I might say that in both groups, I do customize the way I mentor to the individual needs of the members. So, it will differ depending on what that actual mentee is needing.
Great. Yes. And that's a great thing about mentorship, right? You, as a mentor, you listen to what people are wanting to explore more and tailor to what the group and what individuals in the group want. Can you tell us a little bit about your approach to mentoring your aspiring group of watercolor artists?
Yes, the aspiring group is aimed at, well, first of all, I get to know what their needs are and where they're at. And then it's usually about identifying challenges that they're having. And I often demonstrate in this group with targeted exercises to address any challenges they're having. The good thing about that is that the students can watch the demonstrations and they can replay them in their own time and practice those techniques. I've got one here if you'd like to have a look at that.
And do you want to let us know what you're working with here, material-wise?
Yes, so Anna, this is watercolor. I'm using watercolor on a cold press paper. And I'm demonstrating here the fundamental technique, and the lesson is about value. So value being the lightness or darkness of a color or a subject. So I believe this is one of the most important lessons. So you'll see here I'm just working on a small painting, and it's quite a quick little demonstration aimed at helping students to identify lights and darks. And the reason I'm using black pigment here is so that we can focus just on this distribution of light, dark, and medium values. So once students master this technique and this way of looking at value, they can transfer these skills into a color painting. But I like to start, often this is one of the challenges that students have in watercolor is getting that contrast. So this is a great way to learn about the importance of value. It's really learning the bones of painting before you get into more complicated things such as color.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I get that. So here they're learning about value just using black and white. And this is maybe a demo that you show during the class, but then perhaps a homework that they would have to do during the month?
Yes, definitely, Anna. With this particular lesson, they had the choice of painting this. It's a simple lily shape. So I provide the PDF copies for them to paint their own lily, or they could do a similar exercise with their own subject. And that would have been one of the early homework lessons for some of the students. Yeah.
I have one more question. Can I ask you one more question about this? And then perhaps another thing that you'll be talking about with people is the kinds of paints that you use, the kinds of brushes that you use, the papers that you use, and all of that for people that are not very familiar with the variety of things that are out there.
Definitely in that aspiring group especially, I'm there to answer any questions. So I've been painting in watercolor for nearly 30 years. So I've come across, just about every challenge there is. And also the other group members are there to help solve those things. So definitely we will talk about materials, but also here they're learning how to mix the correct pigment to water ratios. They're learning a bit about brush control. They're learning how to lay lovely flat washes and how to darken color with glazes of washes. So this simple little lesson has a lot of very fundamental watercolor techniques. It's very valuable.
So, yes, that was a great video. And even where it is, it looks lovely. So yeah, it was a fun video to watch. So so that was regarding the aspiring group. So how about the approach that you have for your emerging group?
So my approach with the emerging artist group, because they're all working in different mediums and different styles, again, it's getting to know the student and where they're at, and customizing to their needs. But generally, we're trying to focus on unique style and develop that. So it may be that those artists are ready to produce a series of works and they need some help with inspiration or ideas or concepts. It could be that they have a body of work and they need to write an artist statement. I can help them with that. I can help them with their artist resumes. So I get to know what they need. Then generally we identify steps for each individual in the group, the steps to get to those goals for each artist. And we break that up into sizable chunks, and they work at getting to their goals one step at a time. So it's really important to slow down and take it gently, you know, and that's where myself and the group come into play, in encouraging them to stay on track. So when we're developing a body of work, there's usually 6 steps involved, and you know, this will differ between artists, but I find that the first step is the concept development, the initial idea, you know, coming up with that. And that may take a few weeks, that may take days or even longer than a few weeks. The next step, step 2, is usually the research. So that might involve the artists looking at other artists, looking at artists working in similar techniques, or looking at concepts that other artists are working in. The next step is usually experimentation. This is a time when I want artists to feel free to just explore without that feeling that somebody's watching and assessing things. Importantly, that they have that time and space. Step 4 is usually where we start to refine ideas and settle on a particular theme, because of course we can't do everything at once. And then we make a plan to get there. And the last step, step 6, is the production. So that's where we usually sort of procrastinate and, you know, get really scared about it all. And that's what's great about the group, is we're all there to say, come on, you've got this far, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, and I find you get as much from the group members as you get from the mentor, right? In this experience, just learning from your own mentor, but also from your peers.
Mm-hmm. There's so many times when the other mentees in the group have, you know, come forward with great ideas that have helped others in the group. So, you know, or just said, wow, I love that. And they just needed to hear that at that moment. Yeah.
So you have some images you want to share with us?
I will share my doc cam. So I like to work with a visual diary, Anna.
Mhm.
And I encourage students to do that too. And that's where I explore ideas. So this first page here is exploring the very first beginnings of concept. So often, whoops, that's this page actually. So this page is exploring the very beginnings of concept development. So you'll notice I'm making some notes. For me, I like to write a lot, write down my ideas. And here's a little test painting of some ideas. Sometimes it might be that I include a previous work and I'm taking something from that and developing that. So that's that side of it. And then step one as well, I've got here my more development. I'm looking at other artists' work now for inspiration, work that might be similar to mine, or they may have a technique I'm interested in. So here I'm looking at other artists' work and their ideas that resonate with me and inspire me. And then here I'm beginning to work on experimentations myself. So this is step 3. I'm exploring drawing here, so I'm exploring my subject and getting some ideas of what I might like to be working on. And also this step involves often experimentation with materials.
Mhm.
So here you can see I'm beginning to experiment, make little tiny, collages or little sketches that are helping me develop this idea. And more of those here. You can see here I'm exploring what sort of materials I'm going to be using. And then step 4 is usually start to refine these ideas. So you can see here I'm trying a few different ideas with a similar theme in mind, but trying out different ways to use that theme within a painting. And I start to narrow down my theme in these little monochromatic paintings here. And the last step, step 6, is usually where I produce some little thumbnails that might be a good plan for the series of works I'm intending to do. So you can see here I've got quite a lot of them. They're just tiny little thumbnails, so they're quick, but I will play around with that. And bear in mind that none of this is set in stone. So, of these thumbnails, I may have only used, half a dozen, but it's a springboard. And, then you're sort of inspired and ready to do the work. Yeah.
It's very great to see how you do all your process there. And so that's something you're going to help people to kind of get into the same, following a little bit of that process and seeing what works for them.
Yes, of course, it's not for everyone. Other people like to just launch into it. But having a rough idea, and it's more about getting over that fear. And the fear usually comes with not knowing where you're going. So I find, this plan helps you feel confident about where you're starting. Even if you don't follow it, that's absolutely normal, but it gets the creative process happening.
Right. Absolutely.
And also helps me with knowing where you're going.
And so you have some images of the finished pieces you created for that you wanted to share with us?
Okay, so you can see these, Anna?
Yes, I can see them.
So this is the series of works I produced after working on that concept for a while, just to show you how that comes through from those ideas and how they relate to those earlier working process that I did. So this is a series that I call this my remnant series, and you can see where those drawings and ideas have ended in this sort of series, or I shouldn't say ended because they're still going. And often this will spark even more series of works. So it's kind of a growing organic thing when this happens. Here's another one. So these are very large works that span, a wall. And this is a diptych produced after those explorations. This is another one, again, quite a long horizontal work. And you can see the themes that I was exploring coming through here. And another quite large work that was produced after doing this exploration.
Very, very cool. So another thing I wanted to ask you is, with your extensive experiences as an artist and teacher, how does that shape your art and also your mentoring philosophy? And which are the core principles that guide your support for the artist? I think one of the things that you always talk about is overcoming the fear, right? But there are other things that you'd like to share with us?
The really exciting thing that I see is over the years of teaching and developing my own work, body of work, is just how quickly artists begin to almost blossom when they get together and inspire each other. So that's definitely a very important part of my mentoring sessions. And that, a little bit of encouragement goes such a long way, because it can be fairly lonely sitting at home on your own as an artist. About my art, I find curiosity fuels me. I'm always craving to try new things, and I've learned to not be afraid of that. And when I'm here at home exploring my ideas, it's me. Nobody needs to see it, but it's a very important process to have that time to experiment. So I believe experimentation is really, really important. So not being concerned with the outcome all the time, giving yourself time to explore. Fear. I believe fear is the greatest obstacle for artists. Over the years of teaching art, I've witnessed the incredible benefits of time and freedom to experiment and explore, and not be fearful of that outcome. So explore without judgment and fixed expectations. I find that is so conducive to being a creative person, being an artist, and it's contagious. Once that excitement starts in the group, it's definitely contagious.
Yeah, that is awesome. And what are some of the ways that you help students overcome the fear?
I try and get students to, I really reinforce that the focus should be on the process, especially in the early stages of producing artwork. So the focus to be on process rather than outcome takes away a lot of the fear if we practice thinking in those terms. And to view every new artwork as an experiment rather than a finished piece. The first step should always be exploration. And, you know, I can't count the times that students or myself begin with an experiment, and that's the one that works because we're not afraid. So, yeah. I have some great fear-busting exercises that I introduce to, and I recommend to students. I think you've got some of those images that I can talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah, explore those. Okay, so this is one of the best fear-busting exercises I like to suggest to students, and that is the practice of doodling. And doodling is great in so many ways. And this is just a doodle I've done while I've been on the phone chatting. The thing about doodling, or I guess you could call it sketching, whatever you want to call it, is it is best done when our left brain is engaged in something else and we're not overthinking it. So often I'll produce these little drawings while I'm chatting, while I'm talking on the phone, while I'm watching something on television, and I won't really be aware of what I've produced until I get to the end of it. So that's one example of that. So they're just for you, or what they do is help you create your own visual language. They loosen you up, they warm up the hand, and it's a way to get your creative juices going. Yeah, so I think I've got another very interesting one there too, produced while I was on a telephone conversation. So read into this one what you might, but this is another example of just letting my pen wander. And I love to make patterns. I love repetition, and there's really not a lot of thought in this. I'm just letting the pen wander and doodle.
Without thinking of what it's going to look like, what it's going to be. And
exactly. Yes. If I was trying to think about it, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Oh, yes.
So, and not everybody's used to doodling. So it's something you can practice and get better at. So, yeah.
And do you just keep like pieces of paper for you to doodle when you're doing things around? Or do you have a book where you put them?
No, often, Anna, it will be the back of a letter, or, you know, a brochure in the mail, or...
Yeah, I could see that one had a little bit of a rips on the side and so on.
There's always, you know, other bits there, and actually that makes it even more interesting. So
yeah. So how about that one? This one?
So this one is what I call my theme board, or my inspiration board. And this is where, as I'm working through my concepts and ideas, anything that sparks the ideas and relates to that theme, I put onto a board where I can have a look at it while I'm beginning my work. So I'll glance up to it to remind myself of where I'm going. And it sort of makes me more courageous when I can see other things there to spur me on. And it's really important, you know, that, you know, when you put up work somewhere on a board, or it could be other artists' works, it could be where you've tried a technique, it could be a drawing where you've figured something out. Mm-hmm. It's important to keep, and you'll even see a branch of gum leaves up there on the board, stuck to the board. It's important to keep referring to that and looking at it. You know, don't just make the board and leave it, but I encourage using a theme board. It certainly helps me get over that fear and keep on track.
Great. And we have one more.
This is a great little exercise, especially, well, for all mediums, where I get students to divide up a sheet of paper into tiny little rectangles. They might be 4 by 5 inches, something like that. And I get students to explore with their paint. They explore with the elements of art, line, shape, texture, value, and color. And because they're working on several pieces at once, this has lots of benefits. So they're not as precious when they're working on a lot of little pieces. So they don't get caught up trying to produce a brilliant artwork, but they move on and keep developing. So if one doesn't work, they start another one. They're also able to see each work with a fresh eye. So move on rather than, we've all been in that predicament where we're stuck on a painting and we just cannot get off it and we're overworking it to death. Right. So this helps us avoid that. And the other thing it does is it helps us to address things that aren't working quickly. So if one little rectangle, we did something that didn't work, on the next one we can, try that a different way. So I find students love this exercise, yeah. And so do I.
It's very fun. It's definitely very fun to do. That was really great. I loved having that insight into your brain and into your art and things in your studio, how you set up things in your studio. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'm going to ask you a question that we like at Mastrius. We like to ask every mentor that we talk to or that participate in our events and so on. What is a piece of advice or encouragement you'd give an artist that's starting, emerging artist, aspiring artist, something that you would like to have received when you were starting, and now looking back, you think, oh, if I only knew that, what would that be?
I think that would be, make sure you take the time to play. Really important. Give yourself time to play. Don't make every piece of art you do serious. Because with the play comes, the really fantastic outcomes. And be patient. Don't rush through things. Try and be patient. Take your time and work in the moment rather than rushing. Yeah, it's not about ticking the boxes. It's about being there, present at that moment. Yeah.
That is great. Thank you so much, Annette. I loved hearing your insights into your process, into overcoming fear and unlocking new creative possibilities for artists. I'm sure both aspiring and emerging artists that will be in your group will be very lucky, very fortunate to benefit from your experience and expertise. It's going to be fantastic. I'm sure they will enter your group as one artist, and on the other end, get out with more knowledge, more confidence, less fear. I know through this, I took lots of notes of things to try out. I love what you said about take time to play and don't push. So that is, it's staying with me. Thank you so much for sharing. I just want to let everybody know that so look at mastrius.com to find out more about Annette's groups. Everything that we do at Mastrius is online, is live and interactive. You get your questions answered by the mentor in real time and learn exactly what you need to reach your goals, whatever your goals are. I know I've been a member of Mastrius and I love it. I have been learning and growing my skills fast, and the community is really, really supportive. You get to make friends here that are going through the same things that you are going through as an artist. And yeah, it's really, really fantastic that way. I hope you join us and Annette in this journey. All right. Thank you very much, Annette.
Thank you, Anna. I'm looking forward to meeting some new members and like-minded community and helping you with your goals and challenges. And I always enjoy that process as much as you do. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.